did bring
Good afternoon on the plains of Auburn with such a beautiful April day. My name is Robert Wilkins, and this is Citizens Minutes, 19th edition. We had a total of 2 citizens speak on items that are on the agenda, with one citizen speaking about the excessive city purchase of vehicles, and the other citizen about Auburn High School student off-campus parking. While 9 citizens spoke at the Open Citizens Forum, 7 of those citizens spoke about Auburn High School concerning International Transgender Day of Visibility, while 1 citizen spoke about raising the salaries of the city council members and consider making them full-time because of Auburn's growth, while the last citizen spoke about the good job that the city council and the city staff is doing.
If you know, McKinley, that part of McKinley is very short street, only 3 houses, but it intersects with Alice, and we are right down the road from the new high school. And what we're faced with is students just inundating our street parking, and what I was told is they didn't have enough parking for the students. And so they're having to park somewhere else. And of course, they park on McKinley. Now, we're at the very dead end. And because it's a dead end, there's no traffic. And we really don't mind the cars there as long as they don't block our driveway. But what's starting to happen is that the kids are coming and they are very near our driveway, but they're littering. They're coming down there, playing their music very loud. One of the parents did come and ask us politely if their son could park, and we were very appreciative, and we told them yes. So we did give one of the students permission, but after that, it was just like everybody decided to come. So we were not necessarily wanting to restrict the students, but we're kind of at a standstill as to what decision.
Mayor, I'd like to clarify too, she has spoken with the city engineer, and in this particular address, when we get to that item, your desire was to allow it in front of your house, correct?
We didn't mind as long as they weren't being disorderly and throwing trash.
So for now, it is that way. Should the council adopt this when we get to this item, if she changes her mind, you can always modify accordingly.
There wasn't adequate parking at Auburn High School. That's a surprise to me, and I guess that creates little pockets around the city, but I just don't know if we can find out if that's true or not, if we're getting the overflow from the Auburn High School crowd, or if there's some other reason that students are parking off campus. And McKinley, I thank them for their input. And I thank everybody for their hard work on this, and I think it is a good and reasonable solution. And I intend to support it. And again, I thank those who were involved in working it out.
Appreciate your hard work, Sonny. You did a great job communicating with your citizens and your neighbors down there, so thank you, Ms. Whitten.
Not speaking on behalf of the school system, but just my personal involvement with 2 children who either have gone through or are currently at Auburn City Schools. The high school does have adequate parking. The 10th graders do not have the ability to get parking. That's a longstanding policy of the school system. And then additionally, there are drivers who don't sign a pact or an agreement through the school system for whatever reason, and they are not allowed to receive a parking permit. So there's a couple reasons why individuals may park or may not be able to park on campus directly. And so, but there is adequate parking for who is available to park.
Would it be helpful to know the nature of this pact?
Oh, it's just, I mean, it's
a conduct
it's a
based.
conduct agreement that each student is asked to sign. They're not required.
But what I want to talk about is the number of vehicles that we continue to purchase and don't understand why we continue to do that. We're very fortunate to have been and blessed with so much funds coming in from our revenue. But the mayor had said at the end of the year when he did his address that we have 870 vehicles back then, and that they drove around 3 million miles. That comes out to 3,448 miles. That's all on those vehicles. That means some have less. Obviously, some have more because we have a great police department. We have our trash pickup and so forth. They drive a lot of miles. So, you know, somewhere in between there, we have vehicles that have very few miles. And I think when we decide to make purchases, we should get more information from the city manager concerning about how many vehicles that we have in each department, and in ascending order, it would be great to know the mileage of those, the date of those vehicles, and have an idea if we're not overspending our money, because we seem to be spending an awful lot of money. We have issues in this city that need to be addressed. I mean, I went out to the new Lake Wilmore thing today and went to the recreational meeting, and it was awesome. The facility out there is awesome. So we have the money to put some beautiful things out there, but we can't continue to do that if we continue just to spend an awful amount of money. So I think the council needs more information to make sure, because you are the governing body of this city, and our city manager and the people under her are the ones who gather that information and make sure that things are kept at a certain pace and do a good job. I don't deny the job. I just say that we have more money than we realize. A little bit of that. It doesn't mean that they're doing a horrible job, but let's act like we don't have as much money, that we're not as blessed with so much revenue, that each year that revenue continues to increase and increase. And it is easy to make a budget. It's easy to do things when every year your revenue increases, and it increases substantially. I mean, my contribution is more than doubled for my house. I mean, my taxes have more than doubled, and I've been here 10 years. So, you know, I don't mind paying taxes. I just believe that we are not doing our job as a council, me as a citizen, and as our city manager and her many employees that work under her. I think that we...
Mayor, if I'd like to respond to his...
Please.
Mr. Wilkins, I appreciate you coming tonight and letting me know your concerns about purchasing the vehicles. And I'm sure if you knew what we go through to purchase these vehicles, you'd feel differently. I started with the police department in 1987, and we had to drive our own cars. I went to narcotics in 1990. While in narcotics, I had to drive my personal vehicle to catch bad guys out of it. So did other people in my unit. The only way we got a car back then was you got a seizure or bought it or yourself, because we didn't have the cars to go around. We've grown, and I personally think our staff does a tremendous job, whether it be the environmental services, whether it be police, fire, but they got to have the tools to work with. And I can assure you, if I thought for 1 minute we were wasting money, I wouldn't waste the citizens' money, because I have my own, I pay taxes myself. But I want you to know, I'd be the first one saying we got too many, but we don't have too many, I don't feel like, because you got to have a way for people to get around to do the job. And recruiting nowadays is tough to attract the best people we can attract. And you can't expect them to come in here and walk or drive a piece of junk car that quits on you every time you try to get out in it. So I'd like to rest you, stay on top of it. Councilman Griswold frequently brings it up, and as he should. But I think on that, you're just dead wrong. We're not buying too many. We're probably not buying quite enough.
When a department or staff want to purchase a vehicle, do they have to provide you with justification, or do they just say, I want to buy a
Absolutely.
vehicle?
If you look at my department heads carefully when I make this statement, they get turned down far more than they get approved for a vehicle. As a matter of fact, a lot of requests don't get to me because I'm a stickler about vehicles. One of the challenges is in the mayor's State of the City speech, he said 870 vehicles and equipment, not just vehicles.
city's fleet of 870 vehicles and equipment traveled more than 3 million miles last year.
And so equipment is different. We don't have 870 vehicles. However, when people are able to share, they do share. This vehicle, when we get to this item, is for a new fire inspector position. City Council, I can give you a breakdown of equipment versus vehicles, but we do not, in any way, shape, or form, the department heads will tell you, we're running our vehicles longer miles and more years on the vehicle. If the vehicle's not costing us a lot of money, we don't replace it.
Good time with that. I didn't know John Langford was going to be retiring. I'd have reached out to him, said something to him. I was thinking back the Auburn fire chiefs that I've gotten to know over the years, Ronnie Blankenship, Larry Langley, I believe, Lee Lamar, of course, and then John. So what a Hall of Fame group of fire chiefs that you had here with the city of Auburn. And likewise, there's the corollary of the Hall of Fame police chiefs too, all these years. What is the project? What is the construction project? I've been watching it at the south end of Doug Sanford Stadium. What is that? Is that my hunch is that I could look it up somehow, imagine, but a hunch is some sort of concession and/or restroom expansion facility for both sides of the stadium?
It's a school project, correct?
It's the Auburn City Schools project.
Yeah.
It's stadium enhancements that they're making and entrance gate changes.
I just wanted to tell you one more time, really appreciate what you do and how you do it
Councilwoman Taylor, I really enjoyed the Ward 1 meeting. It was awesome. AJ, I saw earlier today at the recreational meeting. Also, Mayor Andrews, you did an excellent job. Also, the lady that continuously shouts and screams at Toomer's Corner. Anything, I mean, she's been there for weeks, months, maybe over a year. Is there anything that the council or the police department can do with that lady? She's just, it's devastating. You know, it's so bad for the city. Speak on part two, our underpaid council. What does a $600 part-time Auburn City Council member do each month? First, you attend 2 meetings a month from 1 to 3 hours with 150 to 400 pages to review for the meeting. 2 meetings on Thursday before the Tuesday council meeting to go over the agenda. You have to research and prepare for those meetings. You receive cell phone calls, text messages, emails, personal meetings from your constituents, not just in your ward, but other wards, concerning the issues of the month. Also deal on social platforms like Facebook and Nextdoor. You even attend special opening functions and happenings in each month. I believe that the growth of this city and the expanded needs because of that growth, that our council members should be full-time and compensated accordingly. When 59 bureaucrats can get between $100,000 to $250,000 per year, that's why I think we should have 8 full, whether it's 36, 48, 60, or 72 per year income. This would allow competition for council members by enabled, talented, and creative citizens to afford being on the council. I do not believe that money is the single answer, but we as Auburn citizens should search out the leadership in our community and show them the vision of their potential leadership as a council member or even mayor. A close friend of mine said that the city manager makes $250,000 while the vice president of the United States makes $235,000.
And happy Easter to all of you. That's April 20th, the resurrection of the Lord. There's some good news. The Auburn Public Library now has a fresh start. Thank God the former library director is gone. Under his watch, hundreds of sexually inappropriate books promoting homosexual perversions, anti-traditional family themes, and all forms of godless immorality were placed on shelves even in the children's wing. Meanwhile, a horrible table was set up at the Auburn High School promoting transgender ideology. This was very recently. this so-called club passed out the rainbow-type ribbons with trans colors and promoted reprehensible practices. Please, if you are a parent of a student at Auburn High, I urge you to call the principal and denounce this beastly activity. You can also call the superintendent of Auburn City Schools and complain. Stand up for the teachings of Jesus Christ. Be a light, as Christ is the light of the world. His word never fails. Protect the youth of this generation. Make a call.
I'm proudly displaying the ribbons that were handed out at the high school. I'm the proud father of a senior at Auburn High School who is a member of the club in question. And I want to talk about the courage these students have had over the past 3 years that my daughter has been at Auburn High School. They have worked with the administration and the teachers, the superintendent, and the school board to earn their right, like every other club at Auburn High School, and have the opportunity to get together and just enjoy each other. 7 miles from one of what I consider the best colleges in this nation. And my daughter's not welcome here, so she's made a decision now to go to another college in another state. Another college in another state. She has been an incredible member of this community, looking out for others and doing everything you want a young person to do. And to listen to people stand up here, because what they're saying is that it's my daughter. That's the problem. And those like her. And as a father, no one should have to listen to that. Thank you.
I'm here today to explain to you the importance of the event students were involved in yesterday at Auburn High. The International Trans Day of Visibility is an annual event, annual day recognized, celebrated all around the world on March 31st, which is dedicated to celebrating the accomplishments and victories of transgender and gender expansive people, while simultaneously raising awareness of the work that is still needed to combat discrimination and violence. Trans youth already face higher rates of bullying, depression, and suicide, and the lack of acknowledgement or outright erasure significantly increases those risks. Trans Day of Visibility is a much-needed day of empowerment, celebrating the lives and achievements of transgender and gender-expansive loved ones. We need to always hold space for our trans community members and recognize their many accomplishments. Trans Day of Visibility is only one day out of 365 that gives allies the chance to uplift and support our trans loved ones.
I find it astonishing that someone would get up here and reference the resurrection of Jesus, and in the next breath make statements that go directly against his teachings of kindness, reaching out to the excluded, and caring for people in our community. I want to thank the folks at the library for making sure that we served every member of the community, not just a religious few. So thank you for the folks at the library who are doing that. No member of our community should feel like they don't belong. Our public services should be for the public, not for some people, for all people in our community, regardless of their faith, of where they come from, or where they want to go.
I want you to think, if your child was trans and had told you that they identified as a different gender, and your child was at Auburn Public Schools and was having these things said about them, that would not sit well with you. I was at the Tumors Corner last night. I'm an ally. I'm a parent. My family member is an adult, but is trans. And come out until their 30s because of statements like this. And they were worried that they would not be accepted. And that is a miserable life to live. So please, as you consider what your own personal beliefs are, those are your beliefs. But don't stop other people from living their own lives and living their best life. Thank you.
The outrage expressed tonight discourages me. Student organizations like Educate are meant to encourage community, dialogue, and kindness between students at Auburn High School. As part of this effort, the club celebrated Trans Visibility Day, a national holiday, by allowing students the option to voluntarily come to their club's table during lunch and, again, voluntarily pick up and wear an unobtrusive ribbon like I have on today. The right for students to wear insignia like this is made very clear in the 1969 landmark Supreme Court case, Tinker v. Des Moines Independent Community School District. In this case, the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 in favor of the students' First Amendment rights in public schools for students to wear black armbands in silent protest of the Vietnam. It is at its core a First Amendment right for these students, and the freedom of speech is a pillar of our government without which it would fall. It is not something we can, nor should we, infringe upon. I ask this council and this city to show love and compassion. As Mark 12:31 says, and the second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these.
In reference to the article about trans youth that was published by the 1819 specifically, this particular news site has been known to post unverified information and generally lack integrity. While it did mention people complained, I think we've all seen a person who only leaves negative Google reviews before. Just because some people complain doesn't mean that that is representative of the views of all students or parents. Further, the Educate Club is aimed at reducing stigma, which is exactly what we're facing with this article, and I believe all students have the right to feel safe in their identity. If the posting had mentioned something such as picking up a religious sticker at the table, we would not have had these comments tonight. As I've heard mentioned by a parent of a student at Auburn High School, previous inflammatory statements from the 1819 are directly connected to the mayor of Smith Station, a husband and father, deciding to take his own life. I do not believe this is the kind of news source we should be allowing to influence public opinion based on its track record. Thank you.
Rarely do I get emotional on this dais, but I am a parent and I am an ally, and I'm appalled by what has been stated by an outlet that is considering themselves to be journalistic. Misinformation creates fear and incites hate. And I just would like to state that I'm proud of the people who spoke tonight. This is just ridiculous, and that we should not have these kind of conversations in a community like Auburn. And I apologize for my emotions, but I don't apologize for stating that I support all those who want to be who they want to be. And we as a community should support anyone for who they want to be, who they decide to be, and be kind and not spread hate.
I think that the Boy Scouts should get their merit badge for this. They really hung in there with us, and it was good to see you all tonight.
A quote by George Orwell: "Freedom is the right to tell people what they do not want to hear." Please make comments or become a guest speaker on Citizens Minutes by going to nextdoor.com or youtube.com. Your counsel is only as good as the information that you gather. Until next time.